Hello guys, Mark Angelo here. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. I just finished, or we just finished eating a huge pancake breakfast every Saturday and try to make really good hearty pancakes that beats any pancakes you could go get at any restaurant. They're healthy, nutritious, and very filling. I wanted to touch base on something that's been weighing heavy on my mind, and it's created a source of disagreement online, on Facebook to be exact, with people that I consider friends. And if I really think about it, it's these times have really placed a spotlight on how people really feel about things and how they interact regarding things that trigger them. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't think I know it all, although that's what a lot of people feel. I'm very passionate and I voice my opinion, as we all should be entitled to do so. It is our opinion after all. It's how we handle the situation that makes a difference. People are able to disagree on things and have a civil discussion about things without being hurtful, mean to one another. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people are being hurtful and mean because your views differ. We're not cookie cutter. We're very different. We come from different backgrounds. We're raised differently. There's certain things that we are passionate about due to the upbringing and things of that nature. As I've mentioned before, I was uh, I was born in Cuba, and my mother's side of the family, they were pretty well off. We had what she considered, I guess, a maid or servant, who was a woman of color. I was a baby. I came from Cuba when I was 4 years old, so I can't be held responsible for my mother's belief and the way she was raised and so forth and so on. I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so anti capitalism and anti materialism, because of the way that I was raised, and I saw the value that was put on material things and how people were demeaned and talked bad about because they were different. And I don't like that. And it's been a struggle all my life because you're programmed to believe certain things and then your inner core tells you something different. But anyway, I digress. So I ended up putting a, a link on Snope that talked about Aunt Jemima's history and how a lot of people are justifying the fact that they shouldn't remove the brand because, according to folklore, she was wealthy, she became wealthy because of it, and they painted this beautiful picture. And I pointed out that this beautiful picture as being painted is all propaganda. There's a lot of lies behind it. Also, the said family is upset because they're erasing the memory. Well, I think they're upset because they've been at some sort of legal battle trying to get monies, and they can't even prove that they were the actual family. So, nonetheless, I had several people that disagreed with the said post, and it created a whole scenario. Now, one of the things that I want to point out, if you're a white person and you're being triggered when people are pointing out things that are very real with deep roots for a lot of us, okay? Um, besides having Spaniard and Polish blood, I also have Taino blood, which is the blood that I relate to mostly. That's my Taino roots is what I identify with, and I take that to heart. That's why I'm a minimalist. I'm all about nature. I'm all about the spirituality. I'm not about the white man's ways. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at history and to look at the kind of destruction, the wake that has been left behind in the colonization and in the conquering mentality that we see that has taken place and has altered history and the way of living of the indigenous. I'm all for the indigenous people. I'm all for my black brothers and sisters. Okay? Their voices need to be heard. So you get people that get upset because they don't like people talking bad about the white race. And I say in quotation because white is not a race. And that all started in the colonization aspect where different people from European descent all got categorized into a white race. Well, if you really look into it, there's no such thing. So they call individuals out and call them racist when people are pointing out facts and realities that have taken place. So I found this article and I found it pretty interesting. And I believe this. Black people, indigenous people, people of melanin cannot be racist. A man cannot hate the whip with which he is being flogged, but then be expected to love the person doing the flogging. When such a man, lying helpless, bleeding on the ground, expresses hate for the white person wielding the whip, it's only reasonable. So after a while, story after story, and all you have to do is go back in history and see the kind of mistreatment that to this day, the pain still lies very deep. And there has been no apologies. There has been nothing to undo the bad that was done. But on the contrary, the racism continues to be there. And the hurt continues to propagate itself without no end in sight. So, black people have the right to voice their pain. Their pain does not require the validation from a white person to be considered real. If your arrogance as a white person is blinding you from seeing this, then it's time you did some introspection. Do not be quick to jump on the victim, quote-unquote, bandwagon and accuse blacks of being racist. And that's the card that most white people use. They don't understand the plight, the pain, and they want to disregard it. And they just want to throw it out as, oh, you're being racist. So next time that a white person wants to accuse black people of reverse racism and insufficient anger, check yourself and your privilege. May we learn to stop equating the need to speak out against racial inequality with angry, quote-unquote, blacks or, quote, black people punishing whites, unquote. We do not have the time or energy or interest to hate, but what we do have time for is an emancipation of the black person, both physically and mentally. Do not attempt to silence our voices. You will fail horribly at that. Black pain is valid, and it demands to be felt. So, if you're finding yourself arguing, minimizing, and doing all the stuff that you do, you need to really reflect and go within and find out what is it that's triggering you. On discrimination based on one's color, one can only concur that blacks can be prejudicial towards white, but not racist. So, prejudice refers to a positive or negative evaluation of another person based on their perceived group membership. Racism, on the other hand, refers to social actions, practices, or beliefs, or political systems that consider different races to be ranked as inherently superior or inferior to each other. Furthermore, racism is socio-economic, with systemic structures which promote one race's power over another. Socio-economic being the operative word. I'm certain you will agree that black people do not have the resources to impose such oppressive structures, which enforces their superiority. White people, on the other hand, have, and had imposed them on blacks for over 4 centuries of slavery and colonialism. Black people can be prejudiced, but not racist. So I hope that clears that one up. You know, it's time. I truly believe it's time for all of this to come out, for the healing to take place, for people to take responsibility for their actions, for their words, for their thoughts, and for their hidden racism. Because believe it or not, it's there. It's there, and it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that we cannot proudly say that black lives do matter. It doesn't mean that that's the only life that matters, but it means that we are feeling their pain, understanding their pain, trying to make things better. It means being compassionate and understanding of one another. And at this moment, our black brothers and sisters need us more than ever. It is time to heal. It is time to remove the veil. It is time to be humble. It's time to understand what is actually going on. Finger pointing, getting angry at one another is not going to solve a single thing. I hope, and I truly want to manifest the true changes that need to come about in order for us all to heal. We're living in times where everything is being showcased, things that need attention. And being part of a minority that has had to put up with a lot of prejudice and a lot of racism, I can tell you that it is important to be able to live the remaining years of our lives knowing that our voices matter, knowing that things will get better, knowing that this particular group of people that have thought themselves as superior, but in reality, this country, and I'd like to say the rest of the world, was built on the hard work of black men and women, of indigenous people who were enslaved for the profit of those without melanin. That if it weren't for the hard-working individuals, many of these elitist people that run the world wouldn't have what they have, because they stole, they plumaged, they destroyed everything and took everything from the natives and used the sweat and tears of those with melanin to get what they have today. So I hope that you all understand the need, the massive change that needs to take place, or else we are doomed. Anyway, guys, I love you. Hope you have a great weekend. But remember to always love yourselves too.